What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Skatenation. Lucas Weisenthal, the editor-in-chief of Ride Channel. My name's Leland. I'm the news editor. As always, we have our co-host, Spencer Fujimoto. This week, we have the legendary Rodney Smith.
Yay!
I would like to call him the godfather of New York skateboarding scene. We had Ali Asha on a few weeks ago and Eli Gesner on week before last, and they told many stories of Rodney, so it was only right to have him on next. So here he is. So let's start in the 80s. I believe Ali told the story of like shut stacks being risers, right? Wooden
Right. Oh, nice.
The original, but so let's just let's
wooden riser pads. Is that okay? Riser pads. Did you put under your truck between the truck and the board? It was a piece of plastic.
I think kids might use risers again now.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. Risers
know.
Are back in style.
So are rails. But I mean, let's go from there.
Yeah, so
plastic.
Go back to like, the 80s. That the riser pad, how that sort of came to be. And that's the start of shit, basically. Yeah, in a sense.
So the transition from ramp skating to street skating, there was a lot of stuff going on in between there. And what ended up happening was the decks that were made for ramp skating were good for ramp skating, but they were horrible for street skating. Progressive street skating, for that time, doing bigger ollies or ollieing off of stuff. We got sick and tired of hearing you got to land over the bolts, over the truck bolts on the top of the board.
Right. So stress cracks, right?
Stress cracks, and then you're like, I got another one. The board's gonna go soon. So Santa Cruz put out a series of riser pads a long time ago in the late 70s, early 80s called cell blocks.
That's right.
But they made one in particular, one that had a little thicker body to it, was a little wider, and we don't know if it actually really worked.
It's supposed to like absorb shock and make you a stronger
give some
base.
Strength on the edges, so
right.
the tail wouldn't crack off. But they didn't really give you anything for the front of the board. So depending on what sponsor you had, depending on how poorly manufactured the boards were, my boards were breaking because I was sponsored by Vireflex before they became a toy company. They were one of the top pro brands in skateboarding from the 70s to the early 80s. Vireflex was it. So if you got on Vireflex or Santa Cruz So I ended up getting that sponsorship. The boards are horrible. Instead of using Santa Cruz cell blocks, I decided to make my own. Gotcha. I said I got wood. My dad was in the lumber industry. Well, he drove a truck. And I had some saws and stuff. So I was like, I'll just make one of these myself. So I made a pyramid version of one. And,
Okay, so it was like, it had the stronger base.
It had the stronger angle, and it went up to the base plate, flush, and then... either I made it at a 1/2 inch or 3/4 inch or 3/8. So depending on how high somebody wanted to be.
I've never even seen this. I've never even heard of this.
Little known history.
I'm getting schooled right now. Yeah,
that's what it's all about.
Okay.
Yeah. There was some incredible equipment made in the 70s, but most of it was bad. But it might have looked good, and it might have served some kind of purpose for some people, but not for everybody. So either way, I started making them, and then I think you guys spoke to Eli. He might have said, or Ollie might have said, Rod was a slang master. I was just always throwing out crazy words because I hated the English language.
Right.
So my pops used to get angry at me because he's like, what are you talking about? He's like, you're not making any sense. He's like, you're not even saying the latest words that all the kids are saying. You're like saying, you're calling all car and every vehicle a buggy. He's like, come on. I was like, when it started out with the buggy. That was it. It was like...
That seems self-explanatory to me.
Yeah, I had answers to all of it. You know what I mean? So either way, when I was in junior high, we had a language, me and some of my boys, and we would use a language, and one of the words that we used was shut, but we used to say so the teacher would be like, up, and the teacher would say, hey, watch your mouth, don't say shut up. We're like, I didn't say shut up, I said up, and they're like, you're being a wise mouth.
Yeah, it's not being smart.
Yeah, just, come on. So that was it. Ollie was like, let's call it the up pad. He's like, that would be funny, right? And then he made the paper stickers, and he slapped it on the top of the up pad, and I was selling those at contests.
Nice.
And at demos and stuff. So just to help people, because I would watch boards snap off of jump ramps like left and right.
Right,
yeah. So
right. The jump ramp days.
So
Yeah,
that's
you
where
have
that
a jump
started.
ramp like 4 feet tall.
Before we jump onwards, because you were talking about your crazy slang, and that there's one that I personally want to know, and that You actually named your godbrother Mardoon, which got shortened to Dune, Chris Dune Pastris, which was graphic after graphic after graphic of dune boards since I've been skating. So I really want to know is how did you come up with Mardoon, or what is that from?
So I would say it was probably 1979. Dune, Chris Pastris is like 5 years younger than me. So me and my skate cronies, we had quarter pipes and stuff in the backyard, and we'd build them on the streets, and then the town would come and cut them down. I grew up in New Jersey, and so did Dune, and a bunch of other like V and all these other people. But either way, and he was like itching to go skate with us off the block, because my mom's like, you're not leaving the backyard. Like, he's like, come on, I just want to go. Why can't I go? And he would just be like animate about. So he got bored one day, because we left to go skate somewhere. He got bored one day and started throwing rocks. And he threw a rock and it hit my dad's the light on the car in front of the house.
It's expensive.
And that morning, I was watching television, and the Andy Griffith Show came out. There's a crazy character on the Andy Griffith Show called Ernest T. Bass was his name, right? So when we got back, my mom was like, oh, your brother, Chris, he broke the light on the car. Your dad's going to be pissed, What are we going to do? And I was like, what are you, Ernest T. Bass or something? He's like, why you call me that? I was like, because on Andy Griffith, there's a dude throwing big rocks through windows and stuff. The stores, He's like this crazy wildcat, So he's like, don't call me that. I'm like, yeah, but that's who you are. And I'm, of course, making fun of him. Yeah. And so everyone started calling him T-Bass. and then for some reason, I started tweaking that name. And then one of my boys from Staten Island tweaked the name. And then it came back to me, and it ended up at Dune. So it was Mardoon, Meldoon, then it got cut to Dune, and it stuck at Dune. So, and he liked it, and everybody liked it. So.
Yeah, I always thought it was from the movie Dune.
That's what I thought too.
That's what I thought. Yeah.
So moving back onto skateboards. So how did the UT stack progress to shut skateboards decks? Like, how did you what was the process there?
So I was the wise mouth kid in school, and my early years of high school, the guidance counselor was like, look, you played soccer. I played soccer. I thought I was going to be a professional soccer player. And then I was still skating. And there was really, the skate scene was just starting to come back, but there wasn't anything to really aspire to be pro, whatever, but I wanted to do that. I was like, I'm going to be pro someday. Either way. Making the up pads, selling them, people were like, oh yeah, these are great or whatever. So my mind was never on doing skateboard business, but I always wanted to be in the skateboard industry. So I always thought, I'll work for a company someday, and that would be what I'm going to do. I moved to California. Everybody wanted to go to Cali. Nobody wanted to stay here. We're like, we're sick of the winters, all this 16 below and crap and all this mess and everything. We just want to go there and just do it. Either way, the up pads, I kept it going, and then we stopped doing it because a couple of us from the crew, Eli spoke of the crew of skaters, Harry Jumanji, Ian Fromm, Bruno Musso. So we were Bruno and I were thinkers, Bruno was always on some cutting edge, like, yo, check this out. He had the new info. Eli was always like, yo, got the new info, this and that, whatever. So the up pad idea only went as far as it needed to go because the progression of skateboard decks started to change. So, the
noses are getting longer.
Yeah, they're getting a little longer. They're kicking them up a little bit. This is like right before the double kick things come in. It was right in between that whole era. So we all had our sponsors, and everybody was pretty hyped on the sponsorship, but the product stunk. And we're like, man, we love Cali. Eli was on SMA or whatever, and then Ollie had Blockhead, and then Bruno had Blockhead, and then I was on Venture, and I was getting Flow by Pal, so like we all had hookups, Right. So I quit the Variflex thing because I knew those boards were never going to get better. You know, I knew where they were going,
and they definitely did.
They went to Toys R Us. They ended up in Toys R Us.
Some of them looked good. Like they had nice looking stuff. They had some badass riders. You know, those guys would win contests. You know, doubles contests, pool skating. You know, Henry Hester series and all that stuff. So, you know, it was when we kept breaking boards, and then we were like, "There's got to be a better way." Bruno's like, "I got an idea. Why don't we go out and look and try to figure out how to make our own stuff?" You know. So all those details that Eli wasn't able to fill in was Bruno and I not knowing jack about how to make boards. And then Stick It, Sticks, and Naked boards existed. Remember Stick It and Naked?
No.
Those guys.
How do you not remember Stick It? If I remember
Stick
from at
It.
least one Thrasher ad.
I heard.
It was like 1989.
I remember
That's
Naked
right,
for
Spence.
sure.
And I had a Naked.
Naked definitely.
Naked, yes,
I
yeah,
had Naked,
yeah.
some dude
back
shaped
end,
for me.
back at Thrasher, yeah, Naked, yes.
So they were East Coast companies that made blanks that had shapes. They had like Shape X.
Okay, yes, yeah. Okay, yes,
yes. You know, popular skater shapes.
Yes.
You know, which you couldn't patent shapes, you know, and nobody worried
Right.
about it.
They
It
were
was all about the graphics.
yeah, they had like
you know?
Aaron Murray one. and
So we were like, let's get in touch with those cats and see what's up with those boards, because maybe they're better. They turned out to be better. And they sold what we call in the industry blanks. An uncut, it's called, not blanks, bricks, they're called.
They're just the straight up.
The bricks.
Yeah,
The straight up rectangular shape.
Right, like the old
Cut
Naked
by
boards you used to buy.
Exactly, with the kit. It's got 2 points. The center points are in it because when it goes into the press, there's 2 points to show you where the center mark is. So we were like, Bruno was like, I'm going to get a box of those and see what we can do with them. He orders the box of boards. We're like, now we're going to cut them. We don't want to make them. We're in a city. We're like, what are we going to do? I was
Who
like,
made
we
the
can
template?
Well, first we were like, we could go to Jersey and do it at my house, and then we didn't. And then Ollie's like, we can do them on my roof in Bed-Stuy. So we were like,
spot.
all right,
Good spot.
So we knew about templates because surfing, you know, like those.
Is that
Eli
how they
had
do
seen
it?
that before. We seen it. That's how you would do it. So you make a half of a board,
And they draw
straight line,
flip
and
it
then
over.
whatever, and then flip it, and then do it out. So we got some boards. We cut them on a roof, hand sanded them with some hand sandpaper. Had Mad cans of Krylon. We would just spray them up, and then we were like, all right, we're out. You know? So we went out. We didn't know what we were doing. We didn't know if we cut the tail too short or too long. Like, we didn't know about balance. There's like an equation, which people don't know. That's why, you know, you have your wheelbase
to tail and nose, right.
Even the width. Like, you're going to add that in there because, like, the board, like the Nightmare, the Walker Nightmare board, that was, like, good for ramp, but that was kind of crazy on the street because it had weird weight distribution to it, you know, where your trucks were centered or not centered or whatever. So we did that, and we're like, all right, that kind of worked. Like, these boards lasted a little bit longer. The tails were a little crazed. That was back in the tri-tail. Right before the tri-tail came in, Stick It Stick was like one of the only companies that had it, you know? So we cut the boards out, and we're like, okay, now we need more boards. Let's order some more. So we ordered a couple boxes of the bricks, you know, and we cut them out. But the next set of boards that we cut were at my house in New Jersey. I was like, let's just go to my house. I got the garage. We could just blow up the whole garage. My parents don't even care. They're mad supportive. Let's just do it, right? Went to my house. Getting the paint cans was the key. So I was like, I'm not boosting. I'm not going to jail. And then everybody else was like, I'm not going to jail either. No, we had 2 cats that were like, we do this all the time because we write graph, you know? So they were like, we'll bring the paint, right?
It's for the graphics.
Right. So we'll get the paint. So we made stencils. Ollie cut out a stencil. Like, I should have brought some stuff, but one of the original stencils Ollie cut out, and it was just super simple, just said shut, you know? But before we came up with the name, we were like, you know, this is just making boards for ourselves. This is not even a company. We're not actually trying to be a company. We're just making better boards for ourselves, putting our sponsor stickers on them, so we could show them that we're still repping. You know. And they're like, wait a minute, what shape is that?
What is that?
We're like, you know, like, we're like, well, my board broke and I had to ride this one, so I put it. We got away with that for a little while. So we cut the boards in in New Jersey for almost a year. Like, we were in my garage just banging them out just to get on the road. Then we started bringing the crew skaters in. Felix Arguez was like the first shut skater back in the day. But everybody came to us. Like, we didn't really go out looking, like, unless we were at the banks or somewhere, and then we'd find somebody. Like, Billy Waldman found us. and he was like this big,
Really?
and he's like, hey, what's up? And he was like that mouse. He was like that character on the cartoons, the mouse that always talked. He was just like that, and he was like telling us about our whole setup. He's like, you had these shoes on and those shorts and this hat and this bag and that. We're like, who the hell is this kid? He's from Terrytown, New York. And he knew our whole background. So we were like, this kid's got no power. He can't ollie, but he's got style, but he can't do anything. But we're like, well, let him hang. We're like, what are you doing at the banks by yourself in the middle of the afternoon on a weekday? You're supposed to be in school. He's like, oh, my mom's mad cool. She just let me come here. She's doing some work at 40 Deuce, and I'm chilling here, you know?
Wow.
We're like, dude, you're like this big, literally.
Mom brought him to the city to cut school and go downtown.
Yeah, we were like, your mom's mad cool. So we're like, all right, is your mom cool with you hanging? Yeah, she don't care. She's mad cool. So he was chilling with us or whatever. So either way, we started putting the team together, and we had some rippers that didn't really know, because we still didn't have a lot of video. So it wasn't much to look at, you know?
You got 2 magazines coming out.
Right.
Once a month.
Yeah, so we basically had the next generation from the East Coast of street skaters that were going to swamp everybody.
Right.
So we would go to NSA, National Skateboard Association contest, or Castle contest. Like we would send Barker Barrett to CASL contest, mini ramp.
That's
and he would come
California
back with third
Skate League.
or fourth. Yeah.
Amateur.
Right, yeah. It was,
California Amateur
right,
Skate
It was all
League,
about the AM and how good you could do as an AM. Because once you were pro, you just thought you were in, and that was it. You didn't have to work anymore.
You got to bust a pro's butt when you am. That's the whole thing. You gotta. So you're sending riders out to Castle. Barker's going to Castle.
Yeah, we would literally like just know we never made a dime over a 7-year period doing shit.
Yeah.
Right, because looking as a kid, like looking in Thrasher, and you're thinking like, this is a crazy company. Right. Like it's.
You guys had ads. I mean, for first couple of Thrashers.
For Shut, we only had one ad.
Really?
For Shut. Original Shut, one ad.
What would that have been, like 1989?
Yep.
It was like Eastern.
I remember that ad.
Yeah. Well, we had prominent placement from Intensity Skates. Mail order.
The mail order, right? It was in the lineup.
Oh, okay.
That's how California discovered that we existed for real.
Yeah.
But the real way they knew of who and what we were was through Coco Santiago.
Yeah,
right.
That's
Coco
how I
had a
first learned
grandmother,
about it.
right.
Coco. I seen Coco in San Jose skating the warehouse.
Yeah, like, what the heck is it?
Oh, who the fuck is this? He keeps killing him.
You guys got Rick Ibasetta too, didn't you?
The guy too, crushing it. We had crushers, like amateur crew. So he would go to his grandmother's in the summertime and say to all the skaters there, yo, this dude's back east. I can kill it. They're like, no, we know you kill it because you come here. He's like, nah. This guy's back east that don't know anything about you guys. Some of them didn't even see a magazine. Like I was giving these guys Thrashers and old skateboarders from the 70s to look at. And they're like, what? You know, Kepper was like,
Mike Kepper,
he was like,
right, he wasn't exposed to a whole lot of shit, right? Yeah, when he went to California, it was like green as shit, and that's why I remember Greg was like,
nervous.
Yeah, like we're gonna bring out Mike Kepper, and once he gets here, he's gonna like explode because he's never seen anything, right? These cats never, right? Because so now everyone they're kind of coming up, right?
Yeah.
And then you're having like a hard time kind of keeping them around, right?
Yeah.
Because
I think Eli kind of touched on that. I want to move on to this while we still have a block of time. But so Shut sort of goes its way after like riders left and everybody kind of went and like paying with the Element, etc.
Harold with the Element.
Right. So then New York. That was you. You went and got the blessing from the graffiti crew. So sort of how did you sort of brainstorm that becoming sort of this legendary graffiti thing and turning into a skateboard company?
We always considered ourselves New York City street culture people, you know? Like we skated, but we were down for the music, for the dance. Even if we didn't dance, we were down for the dance. Cali would actually do it, like Lester Kasai would be like rigging it on the car.
He killed it with that one.
Man, Lester's rigging it right now.
Yeah,
you know,
he killed
Primo
it.
and his girl and his wife rigging it on freestyle, you know, like we didn't actually do it, but the guys who did it we respected, so like Crazy Legs and you know, all the real cats. Like we let them do their thing, we did our thing, and then we had our legends like Andy Kessler and you know, Jamie Affamato and guys that were still skating. Because a lot of those other guys didn't skate anymore. Like Futura didn't skate anymore, and I think he did a little bit. But Ali. They were all, that was sort of like a mode of transportation for those guys.
Right.
So. But it was 1992, and Shit had its last sale. I borrowed some money to try to revive it because we had a lawsuit with a distributor friend of ours, and it was a whole year of no sales. And then boards went from almost kicking them up to fully kicked up.
Right.
And it was
right,
Tony
right.
Hawk's board and Mike V's board. So those two boards were like the initiation, sort of. Right. Tony's board was the initiation.
They went over.
Tony's the one with the pictogram graphics.
Right.
Like the toe.
And
It was like square. It was super rectangle. No, his original was rectangle. His double kick.
Oh,
was
that's
a straight
right. It was
rectangle
a straight.
board.
It was almost
And
like the
then-
blank.
And then
Yeah.
Mike had the Animal Farm, which was like
Right.
That
biggest
was
board at the
smooth.
time.
That was
Yeah.
great. That was
Smoother,
great.
square.
Everybody
that shit.
had that.
that
So
shit.
the boards were changing, and then obviously you're like, times are changing.
Times are changing. I was like, shut us down. Now what am I gonna do? Bruno was like, man, I don't want to mess with these stupid skaters anymore. All these guys left.
Yeah.
7 years,
He's
I got
like,
nothing. It's
when I
it.
see them, I'm gonna smack them. Because, we
No.
have family
Yeah,
involvement.
yeah,
But we
yeah.
didn't tell all the skaters about everything because then they would maybe get jaded. They're like, So we just let them do their thing, and we were still, Bruno and I are still competing when we had our team. So it was like, all right, we're gonna go to this contest in the Midwest. And if we beat any of you, you're getting Charlie horse for half an hour. That's how we used to do it. And they're like, oh,
That's a legit motivator. That's
Totally.
a good way to
Totally.
run your
They're like,
team.
if you can't beat the old dog, here I was like
That's some real
25 or
shit.
something. I wasn't even old or whatever. And I was like, if you can't whoop me, then you're gonna
You
get hurt.
out, yo. We're gonna leave you here.
Exactly. So by '93, I was like, I'm gonna start another company. I was like, because we just built this whole thing up. We got this recognition. People know the East Coast is this. My skate mentor was a pro skater from New Jersey who I didn't even know. He lived 2 blocks away from me, and he was one of the baddest skaters out of New Jersey. But he was one of the baddest skaters on the East Coast. So he had influence in Florida and all these other places. But either way, I was like, we gotta preserve this. So I'm gonna start another company, and I'm like, all right, I gotta do something that's gonna be unprecedented. Like I gotta come in and just smash everybody. Like I can't come in and be like, yeah, this is what we did and Shut. Like it had to be like something that everybody was gonna get crushed by. And when we were still doing Shut, we did a tribute board to the Soul
right.
Artist of New York. That's what
The
their
Zoo,
full
New
name
York.
was, Soul Artist of New York. So we did a tribute board, and it was a bigger board, So the vert guys that like Andy Kessler was skating ramp and Jamie Afamato, they rode that board. So I was like, I'm gonna do the New York board. So at the time, I had befriended it was GFS, not from Concentrate, doing the Philly Blunt shirts.
the Philly
Eli
Blunt,
spoke of that.
Right.
Stash.
So I was down with Stash. Stash's right hand man was Fuge. Gerb was out of the picture, but they brought a dude named Blue, and those guys were doing T-shirts and stuff still. So
Philly,
I got
Philly blunt shit.
yeah. So I went to Stash and I'm like, I'm gonna start another company. I want to call it New York. How do you think I should do this? He's like, I don't know. You need to speak to Fuge.
Speak
Futura,
to the graph
2000.
dudes. Yeah, it's
Right.
kind of a graph thing. You talk to the graph heads.
Yeah. So Futura was like, I'm in. He's like, that sounds cool. Because I was like, I'm gonna do boards, but then we're gonna support all the culture, all the street culture of New York City that made it what it is. Like it's dope. New York City's dope because we got breakdancing and we got tagging. And we got all the whole. So I was like, we want to incorporate everything because my mind was like just opening up so wide.
Yeah. The possibilities here.
Totally.
Yeah.
So he was like, "That was cool." And then I got to tell you this story. So we finally get it going. Futura gives the blessing. Futura is the right hand man to Mark Edmonds. Is his real name, Ali. Right? He was the right hand man, so he had the right to say, "I'm down." Stash says, we need some space to work out of for subware. What's up? I was like, yeah, you could get the corner of the warehouse. So we had this giant warehouse and nothing in it.
This is the one
It's
in
like a little
Meatpacking,
side here.
right? It's 13th Street, right?
Yeah, we had the waiting list for boards from Chapman because I was prepaying them. I was like, you're going to make my boards because I'm not doing it anymore. You're going already
My
do it.
case of cutting boards on the garage.
Yeah, like, so you're doing it. We had a warehouse factory in New York, Mott Street. We had a spot, and that was the most famous spot, right? So, we're in the warehouse one day, Stash is there. Futura rolls in on his bike, and then the phone rings. So I pick up the phone, and I'm like, New York, and this cat's like, New York? New York? He's like, I'm like, yeah. He's like, does Futura own this company? I'm like, how you know it's a company? He's like, I don't know. You just said New York. He's like, I know what that is,
Uh-oh.
And I was like, well, Futura doesn't own it, but he's here right now. You want to talk to him? And the dude on the other line is Mark Edmonds, calling from Arizona. He was
Like,
living
what's
in
going
Arizona.
on over there?
Yeah. So I give the phone to Lenny, Futura 2000, and he has the conversation.
Hey.
They hadn't spoken like 20 years.
Right.
They were like, "What? Where you been, man?" He's like, "What's up?" He's like, "What's this New York thing?" He's like, "It's my boy Rodney. He's doing this company with Eli and this other cat, and you know."
Kind
What
of
do you think? He's like, well, what do you think, Lenny? And Lenny's like, well, I already gave the blessing, so they trademarked it. We got the trademark. The trademarks were like for like 10 years. It ended the day we went in to apply for the trademark. New York was open
Wow.
for anybody to get.
For 12 hours,
Yeah,
just 6
just
hours.
like that. Boom! And we got it. And we're like, oh, it's good. It was New York Records.
Yeah, I would say, who was it before?
And Mark Edmonds was part of New York Records with this cat that had a record company, and they were putting out some music. I got 2 albums from it.
Clothing too. Like they trademarked it for clothing as well.
No, they just did it for this record company, and it wasn't anything else. So we got the trademark, we got the blessing, and then that was it. We just started making boards. You know, kept it going. I felt confident because everybody was down. We were using graph. You know, we had other graph guys coming to us because Mark Edmonds had passed away like 2 weeks later. So it was like this crazy synchronistic connection, you know, between like all of us. It was awesome, you know.
So how'd you sort of go about rebuilding the team? Because it's like, I mean, obviously Pang and Harold came back. You know, you brought in some new blood, but you know, you sort of put the band back together in a sense under Zoo. How did that happen?
So our whole concept, like, so at that point when we did Shut, we had befriended a lot of California industry guys.
Right.
You know, so Red Dog with Dogtown, that was like, rah, you know, and Tony Alva with Alva was like, rah, you know, we were down with Murph is from Jersey, that's one of my boys. He went to Rutgers, we all skated together with Mike V, Mike Dare, George Dare, you know, we had the whole crew. So we aspired to be like on the rough edge of the root of skateboarding because that's where it all started and that's what it still was.
That's kind of what New York skating was like anyway.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Dirty, grimy, going to the gnarly spots, like, you know. There were skaters that we were exposed to, and it wasn't really about competition as much as like just representing New York City street culture. And then we basically just were looking for guys who, so one of the first skaters on New York was Ivan Perez.
Super good. Legend.
Sick
Ivan
skater.
Perez.
Nobody knew who he was. And our boy, Wiley Singer, who had got the cover of Transworld doing a slappy. Tell me how you get a slappy. How do you get a
Different
cover
day,
of a
different
Transworld doing a
day and
slappy?
age.
But
Without
no,
a
he's
whole bunch
going
of
90
sponsors,
miles
he
an
did.
hour. He was doing it like Wade and all those other dudes from Cali were doing it. Ricky Barnes, he was slapping like that. The big blocks.
Wow,
like
circulating.
so he would just go straight and just go, and just rip the whole thing. So he was like, dude, I was at the banks and this is crazy kid skating or whatever, and like you should ask around. So Hamilton Harrison, John Carter.
Right.
I went to those guys.
Yeah.
And I said, I want the soul cats to represent New York because soul artists of New York. So I try to keep that in mind. I'm like, you guys are the some of the most soulful skaters I know, and I want you to help me assemble a team together. So like, there's this dude, Ivan Perez, you got to get him down.
Ivan
So-
had the first Zoo ad, didn't
Yeah, and he was going to get the first Zoo board too.
he? Okay.
So
Wow.
so at that time, me befriending the industry, I was down with the high speed cats, Ermico. That's deluxe.
Fausto.
So Fausto and Eric Swenson, they took us under the wing after Brad Dorfman from Vision tried to buy us out for $2 million. That's what he told Bruno and I. He called, Brad Dorfman
that's
called.
like $2 million.
Wow.
Like
Yeah.
3 or something.
Exactly. We would have been like, woo, clean. We would have been chilling. But so we were like, who is this? Bruno was like, what?
Brad
He's like,
Dorfman.
Brad Dorfman? No way. You know, Vision is like crazy company.
Yeah.
Why are you calling us? He's like,
Yeah.
yeah,
You
I
guys
heard
can't
you
be
guys are real.
serious.
Yeah, I heard you guys are real popular now. We want to help you, but you know, we want to buy you. So Bruno's like, if you think this company's worth $2 million, because we knew what the company was about. He didn't. He thought it was organized. You know, Dorfman's thinking he's coming in, he's gonna get something that's rad. You know.
Facade.
Bruno's like, if you think it's worth $2 million, we're gonna keep it. And hangs up the phone. Boom. Right. The next day, they call back with one of their henchmen, and I picked the phone up because I was there in the morning.
Yeah.
I picked the phone up and he's like, yeah, my name is Harry or whatever, and I'm from Vision. Brad called you yesterday, and somebody hung up the phone on Brad Dorfman.
I mean, let's be real. Plenty of people have probably hung up a phone on Brad Dorfman.
Right. I believe you, and I would say you're totally right? But you would have to be a specific person to do that. Right. Otherwise, if you were a skater, you were jocking Brad Dorfman, because he had Sims, he had Vision, he had Town and Country. He had 3 skate brands, and one other besides Vision. So he was like one of the leaders at the time. Right. This guy calls. He says, Brad offered you guys $2 million for the company. I'm going to offer you $1 million. Like, he was bringing the price down. Yeah, he was jacking it down. 3. But we're going to try again because you guys are fools.
Like, you offered me 2 yesterday. What
let me take this $1 million.
Go up.
So I was like, Bruno and I thought we were going to like win the lottery. Like, after we had
this is it. Like, yo, this is it.
Well, I think.
Sorry. So this guy, I hung up the phone on that guy, basically. I was like, nah, we don't want to do it. And at that point, we had production of boards. Intensity had mail order ads, 2-page in Thrasher. So Mike Agnew, who also did Silver Star and Nicotine. Yeah, he did all Capital. I was one of the originals with Ricky Oyol and Serge, who rode for us. And with Z York, those guys had gotten down with him after it didn't work out with Z York for those guys. So, but either way, Mike says, I'm selling so many of your boards, I'm going to put you in a mail order ad, with Santa Cruz and Powell and everybody, and didn't tell them that he was going to drop us in there. He dropped like 3 or 4 of our boards on the page. So here you go.
Politics,
The deck lineup, all the top deck brands, and it was shut. So everybody in Cali's like hitting the phone, like burning the burn, calling them like, yo, Mike, what are you doing? That's like putting naked in there with us, like on a pro page. You know what I mean? Like, you told us that you. He was like, you guys don't understand. I'm selling more of these guys' boards than Powell or Santa Cruz.
Especially on the East
We
Coast.
didn't know. Yeah, we had no idea. So that's how we sort of like got that. We got that establishment in there, and then I used that pull, and then Fausto was like, I'll give you a free ad. He was gonna back it.
Yeah.
People don't know that story. He was gonna back New York. He was like, I'm down. I got to go get the go ahead from my wife. Because he always go to his wife first. She was like, sure. He said, my wife is down to do business. And then we like lost touch for a second, and they ended up coming to New York, and me and somebody were doing wall rides over near Astor, like off, St. Mark's or something, right? And he walks up. Oh, him and Craig Stesick walk up.
Oh shit!
And they're like. Fasto's like, Rodney, and I'm like, what's up? He's like, dude, I've been looking all over for you. He's like, I didn't have your number.
Back in the day, searching around.
Sending me in circles. They don't believe who I am. They think I'm some dude with a mustache, like a weirdo dude or something. He's like
some old man.
Yeah, he's like, what are you doing? And we're like, just doing wall rides, man. He's just like, I want to have a meeting. So started the talks or whatever. He was gonna back it. Then I realized that the West Coast cats that he was involved with, like Tommy and Jimmy, weren't gonna allow it. Because they knew that we were coming up.
Right.
And we had Crazy Juice, and we had all of New York City.
Cells,
there was no Five-Borough.
There's only so much
there was
room.
nothing.
There's a lot of cells,
Another
taking out a big chunk of the
getting
pie.
into it,
Exactly.
But
So-
I mean, go ahead.
Yeah. Either way, so that didn't really go down, but he was still being supportive. So he hooked me up. He was like, I'll still invest.
Right.
So I'll give you a free ad.
Okay.
Eli shot the ad.
Yeah.
Ivan Perez. And the Central Park, that long handrail in Central Park, that crazy one, the low one.
Yeah.
Ivan on that at the beginning, not at the end. Or was that getting Jimmy? I'm getting confused. But either way, that wasn't the first ad. That was the second ad.
I thought it was going over the road divider or whatever.
That was it.
Ivan.
That was the first one.
Okay.
First one. That was it.
I don't know.
So at that time, Ivan got arrested. He went to jail, and he calls me up. You gotta bail me out. I'm like, not pro. I was like, I don't have any dough. Like, bail you out. I was like, you gotta ride it out, man. He was like, I told
ride it
you.
out. That's not what you want to hear.
Check it out, though.
You're like,
this is what I tell
whoa.
everybody. This is what I told all the dudes. I was like, look, if you get on Zoo, keep your nose clean, because we're trying to make this happen. If you make New York look bad, that's on you. If you just make yourself look bad, that's on you. I was like, that's just the way it's got to
So
go right
don't
now.
don't
you know?
get in trouble. Yeah, that's pretty straightforward.
It was actually $10,000 that I was looking for. Because I was like, I can just get this started with that. I'll just do it out of my bedroom, you know. I was still living on 59th Street between 1st and York, and I was going to do it out of the house, you know. I was having meetings with John and Hamilton at the house, you know. And then, so either way, the team started progressing from there because then everybody heard we were doing it. So Mike Hernandez rolled in, and then Mike was one of my right-hand men. I had Dan Zimmer, but we had to get Dan out because he was just flaking off. So we had Hernandez, and we would go out to Long Island and pick up decks. And Mike Hernandez lowered CRX that was scraped on every friggin' bump because he had race shocks on.
He liked that race shit. He was that race shit. Word. He had a race rocket. Yeah.
Chapman didn't even have boxes back then. So we would just get the boards and we would stack them in the back of the CRX loose, just floating around. We didn't even taper or anything. It was just like random. No, we would just take it easy on the highway.
Well, you gotta take it easy in that car, especially with all that extra weight.
I reach back there, hold them a little bit if we got on bumpy roads or whatever. So the team progressed from there, and then Ryan Hickey was coming up. Everybody's like, "Oh, this kid's ripping." Then I went to see him skate, and I was like, "Oh, you know." So it just kept going from there. So that's basically how the team
Harold
came.
and Jeff are back, and then. So, I mean, it was actually like obviously the biggest blessing that no one bought it or invested it, because then you had the perfect storm of sort of like Eastern exposure, underachievers, mixtape, the Supreme was coming
Even
up.
Slap. Slap was supposed to be in East Coast Magazine.
Slap was showing love early.
Yeah, they were supposed to be in East Coast Mag. They were living on a station established for themselves here with an office in New York City. And we were going to get a mag, you know?
And I think the movie Kids, obviously with like Harold and Jeff being in that and the iconic scenes, you just see Zoo York boards and...
Ham and John are in that too. Ham and John are in that too.
So then, I mean, it instantly becomes like, boom, global phenomenon. What were those years like as far as just seeing the company go from
placement,
seeing the company go from sort of this like little thing to just being this behemoth?
So it was pretty funny because we weren't really paying any attention to that stuff. All we knew is that we needed to keep the lights on. You know? so like Chapman was like, I got one press, and then he was like, all right, now I got 3 presses or whatever, or I got more, and then he expanded and got a bigger warehouse, so we had more product. We were able to supply the demand, but the demand was still trickling in. And, excuse me. Then we're like, we got to start making clothing, so we did T-shirts, standard, sweatshirts, standard, hats, whatever. But then we were like, we could get stuff cheap and relabel it because nobody was paying attention to that stuff. If you did small amounts, if you did small amounts, you could, you know. So we're like, we're gonna go to the next ASR show. When it was still ASR, not Agenda.
Right.
And we're like, we're gonna bring these couple pieces. So we had like 15 pieces of hard good clothing. You know, we had some cargo pants and some other stuff. Nobody in Cali was running cargo pants. Nobody, you know. So we were like, came with some stuff. We inspired DC, you know, that whole crew. They were all like, the New York style, everybody's rocking this stuff. So we went to a trade show and we got orders. And then we came back and then we went back and did it again. Then we did it again. Then all of a sudden we had a monster. Eli says he built Frankenstein. Well, he built Frankenstein. We didn't have chains or a cage for Frankenstein. So we were like, it was going crazy. It was going. So before the kids movie came out, we started getting some prominent, attention. Worldwide, international started rolling in. There was nothing like it anywhere. We inspired all these new small companies, and we think that we're like the troublemakers still to this day with Polar and all these other companies like at the top. People think PAL's crushing it. No. Polar's crushing it. Those companies are moving mad boards. Being on the top is not where you want to be.
There's only one place to go.
Exactly.
Down.
So we started getting recognized, and we were moving some units, and then the kids movie came out, and then that did another form of exposure for New York City. So then Supreme blew up from there. So it was when I think it was Transworld were like putting like their favorite stuff in the mag, and they were like top 2 skate brands in the industry, Birdhouse and New York. Wow. So we were like, what? So we were just like, shaking. We were rolling, skaters getting paid. That's like my focus. Like, skaters got to get paid. Like, that's my whole thing. Still to this day.
Nice.
Like, If you're jumping down the stuff, you're doing all that commotion, you make it what it is, through the marketing, all that, you need dough.
Right.
You know, it's just simple as that. And I remember giving up my own personal dough to keep dudes happy. So I remember giving like Ryan like $100 when I didn't have anything. I had $300 for the month. I gave him 100 just to keep it cool. I'm gonna give you the model and it'll work out. You know, so you get the bad rap from Ryan because he only saw a part of what was really going on because I didn't expose those guys to that stuff.
You can't really. Once again, you
You're
gotta cushion
jaded.
them. You gotta cushion them from
Exactly.
that. They don't need to be thinking about that. They need to be thinking about the tricks.
Skate. That's it. So yeah, the kids movie really did kind of help us get New York City established from the wild side because teenagers all over were like, yeah, we do that too.
But what
This
did
is
it
how they
feel
do
like that time around as the company was blowing up to see somebody like Ryan, you mentioned, like he went to stereo and people like Harold went to ADI. Like what did it feel like the second time around? Like, goddamn, these guys are leaving again?
Yeah, well, you know, I was always accepting of if somebody needed to make a move, but I always left the door open. That's the key. Like, I didn't shut the door and I didn't get angry. I was like, you're making a choice for yourself. Respectfully, I'll give that to you. And if you ever want to come back and you can do it, still do the flip on the board, you can come back.
Right, like Harold went back.
You big the
Harold came
kid.
back, Jeff came back, you know. But I helped those guys. So I gave the word to Dune that Ryan is cool. You want to use Ryan? His knee's a little janky,
Right,
but
because he went to
Ryan's-
stereo,
Yeah.
which was Dunes and Jason Lee's company at the time.
Yeah,
Right,
they can give him a little
which is-
dough because that was on the deluxe back then
Uh-huh.
when they were doing it. They still, it was before they did it themselves, but they were still on the deluxe. So I was like, all right, that's cool. That'll work out for him. So
We're moving on to time limit. We're gonna obviously have you back with Eli and Ollie for the deluxe panel, but the final thing that I
reunion
wanted to touch on is that, which Eli sort of barely touched, is selling it. How hard was that? What was sort of leading up to that? And I'm sure that was like a pretty big payout as well, probably at that time, because it was still, you know, huge.
perfect question. I love the question, and I was like, Eli, we kept him away from that. What was going on? Because it was like we just needed him to focus on doing his deal.
Yeah.
Like this is what you do. We want you to just be happy doing this. We don't want you to know about this garbage because this is the part of business that people don't really.
It's not that enjoyable.
Can't understand it.
Yeah.
So basically, we built a monster. We didn't know how to cage the monster, you know, and we're like, what are we gonna do? So we had gotten involved with this company. I think they were out of Connecticut, and they were doing T-shirts for like Nike and a bunch of different people. And it was a friend of Adam Schatz, who is our third business partner.
Right.
And we brought these guys in and like, we'll do tees for you, and then whatever else you need, we have the resources to get this stuff done. So we started doing it, and I think we did maybe 1 or 2 shows, trade shows or something, but it was one trade show that we did. Then we got recognized by a Japanese distribution company that was like pretty big, and they were getting into skate, but they wanted to do it legit from the core. So they noticed what we were doing, and then this company that we hooked up with, they brought them in, and then they were like, all right, we're gonna help you to get this established, you know, like this. And they were like putting in crazy orders because Japan skating was blowing up there. So
And that's when you guys are doing a lot of trips out there.
yeah,
Right.
and then what happened was that company went out of business. The company from Connecticut, our friends, they went out of business because there was some embezzling or something going on. So we were like, that's resources and money are the 2 things that you need to keep clothing going, especially.
Yeah.
So we're like, all right, scrambling. Like we were doing like really well. We were like, what are we gonna do? We got to find someone to help us. So we're like, all right, first thing we're gonna do is just gonna put together this proposal stack, and we're gonna send it out to people who we respect in the industry. Sent it to Burton. We sent it to everybody because we were like desperate. Sent it out to everybody. Didn't hear a word from anybody.
Nice.
And I was like, the only thing in my head was, this is before 9/11. We ran the sniper ad.
Oh,
with Jeff
yeah,
Bang and Peter
shit, that's
Beastie on the
true. I
roof.
remember that ad.
And everybody was like, yo, these cats are crazy. We had Arabic writing. you know?
I remember, yeah.
Before we did the Danny Supa Thai stuff, we had that ad, you know? So people are like, yo, these guys are tripping right now. Like, what are they talking about? Nobody even contacted us. Like, HR in like a public company or a big company like Burton said probably just said, no way.
Not
right?
touching this, right?
So we were like sitting there, like, what are we gonna do? We really need some support. nobody's trying to reach out and people didn't think we needed the help because we made it look so good.
Mm-hmm.
We were like, we don't have that much dough. We're not killing it like Huff or somebody like that. Like that professional. Like we had people helping us with the professional aspect of it. So then one of our boys was like, yeah, what's up with the company? And we're like, I don't know. We need some support right now. And he's like, what do you mean? We're like, we need dough or we need some
Money?
stuff. Yeah. And he's just
Investor?
like,
Business
he's like,
partner?
really? You guys need stuff? And
I
he's
got
like,
it.
all right, well, I hang out with the Echo dudes. Maybe those guys are down. Mind you, like a year or two before, Echo tried to steal my whole team. They tried to steal our whole team. Like, they were like, yeah, we want to do a photo shoot. We got to get, they came in limos. They picked everybody up in limos.
Because Harold was kind of the go-to for that kind of
him and
thing.
Pank were like the dudes.
Yeah.
So they got taken out there, and then I was like, this is fishy. And then when they came back, I was like, Jeff, what's up? And Jeff was like, tried to take us. They tried to steal us. President of Echo, I'm like, yo, what's up? Not Mark, his boy. I'm like, yo, what's up? This is Rodney Smith from New York. Hey, what's up, man? How's it going? I'm like, how's it going? How if I come down there and I was like, I'm trying to bring my crew in, pay him dough, bring him limos, try to flash him. You're not even a skate company. Yeah. I was like, I would have had more respect for you if you were a skate company. Yeah. I was like, this is core skateboarding, bro. You don't rig it like that. I'm like, that's people get nuffed up for that kind of stuff, you know. And we had an interaction, so I didn't think that they would be down. And then they invited us to the office, and I was still iffy about it.
You're like, this ain't gonna happen.
Yeah, I was like, man. But they were like, yo, we never even thought you guys would need help. Dudes in their office had zoo stickers. Everybody was down. The graphic heads were down. They like loved it. So they were like, we're doing this. So they helped us to keep it going.
Gotcha.
That's how that went. We didn't want to do it. We had to do something. And it wasn't because we blew up and someone was like, yeah, we're going to give you mad money for it. You know, we had no dough.
That's what it seems like. That's what it sounds like.
And
that's
what everybody thought we got paid. Yeah, they think we're millionaires. They think we're a millionaire. I got 350,000 miles on my Toyota Sequoia, 2001.
So we were taking a limo back downtown.
That's how I do it. I even got people saying, what happened to you, man? Like, Dune's like, Rod, man, you guys should be chilling. He's like, he made sure everybody else got theirs. And then you didn't. You're
a good man. That's right.
Trying, man, trying.
Not screwed, but you just kept it alive. The dream is still going. And that's what it was about, I guess, right?
That's really what it's about. It's not about the money. We weren't greedy. I was never greedy. You know, Eli just wants to do his stuff. Everyone has their own scenario. You know how skate is. Everybody's down. Don't matter if you come from Park Ave or don't matter if you come from Phipps. You know what I mean? Projects. Don't even matter. You know, everybody's.
Man, so many questions, such little time. We're going to have to wrap this up for this week. Thank you for coming.
Yeah, no problem.
Leland's kicking us off the show this time.
We're definitely going to have to do a part 2.
Trust that it's Rachel in the background.
Wow.
Pulling the
part 2
strings.
with
anytime, man.
Yeah,
3 of you guys. Thanks for tuning in. We'll be back next week.
That was fun, man. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Enjoy the rest of your week and skate out there before it gets too damn cold, too. Bye.
Later.
Yeah, that was